Wherever you are on your journey, welcome. I'm Jackie, and this is my journey called Personally Driven. So, if you listen to the previous podcast, I talked about day one of the spiritual retreat. So, this podcast is about day two of the spiritual retreat. And that would be Monday. Monday, September 19th. That would be day two. So, if you're wondering, in the blog post under this, I will tell you what incense I am burning, which is eucalyptus. And I chose this one because it was in a box. It was a dark green box. And it made me think about the trees and being out in the cabin. It made me think of that, so I chose that. And the crystal that I have in my hand is the unakite stone, and uh, I chose that one because it is also too green. And when I think of green, I think about the heart chakra. So that's why I chose that stone, because of its color. It actually has green and pink in it as well, which both of them represent the heart chakra. So um, that's what I have in my hand while I'm recording. So let's get into it. All right, day two of the spiritual retreat. And all right, so day two started off with meditation. We meditated at 8 o'clock, which was awesome. Because I have to admit, my meditation practices vary. It's not consistent. And that's something I definitely want to be consistent at, because meditation for me is very powerful. But sometimes I say I become spiritually greedy. And what I mean by that is I will get so caught up in whatever spiritual practice that I do, like, say, for example, meditation. Um, I started off with guided meditation, which you can find that in all different forms, but I'm sharing with you my experience. So when I started to meditate, the very first time I meditated was with, what's the gentleman's name? Jay Shetty, has a YouTube channel. He has a podcast as well. What is that podcast called? I can't think of it. So sorry. But in the blog, I'll have the name of it. But he was if you heard that, that was my dog. That was Sky shaking. She's right here next to me too. I'm actually sitting in my son's old room while I'm recording, so I can love up on her at the same time while I'm recording. So, Jay Shetty used to be a monk. He was a monk for 3 years, I believe it was. And then he left from being a monk and came back and he shares his teachings and what he learned from it. And um, yeah, so first time I meditated was following him on YouTube, and he did a meditation, which was cool. That's what made me realize, oh, you know what? I can meditate and do it with guided meditation. So I did his for a while. This was years ago. And then I would just go on YouTube. Excuse me. I would just go on YouTube and do a search for guided meditation. And so there is a lot of them on there that you can try, and there's all different amount of times. Like, you could do 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I mean, just any various amount of time that you want to meditate. And so while we were on the retreat, we I've always wanted to get to the point of meditating and not needing guidance. So I kind of stepped away from using the YouTube guided meditation. And lately I've been using two podcast, well, not a podcast. One is an app that I'll share with you that has guided meditation. And then there's a podcast. I can't think of the name of it. It's that they don't record anymore. So it's pretty much like old podcasts or old episodes, and they have like a 15 or 17-minute type of guided meditation. So I use those. But I really wanted to get to the point where I think I have only did it twice, maybe 2 or 3 times. I have just sat still, either laid down or sitting in a chair, and did meditation without anything. I would put headsets in my head just to cover up, to drown out any noise in the neighborhood or whatever. And I did pretty good. I did pretty good. One time I think I last, oh, this was a couple of years ago. I think I last, or yeah, about a couple of years ago, I last for about almost 30 minutes um, meditating. And I was shocked that I was able to do it, which doesn't surprise me because when I started off with Jay Shetty's meditation, his meditations were about 30 minutes. Um, but I would like to get to the point of where I'm doing my meditations daily and doing them on my own without being guided, doing guided meditation. So I was pleasantly surprised, pleasantly happy about our meditation at the retreat. Was, Ali asked us, did we want some sound or did we want it to be silent? And the majority said no noise at all. So that's what we did. And we did it for about 15 minutes. And like I was saying earlier, that I call myself sometimes spiritually greedy, because certain practices of spirituality, I feel so good afterwards that I'd be like, oh, let me do it again, which causes me to be late. Late to work, late to some things, because I'm typically either doing something spiritual and get caught up in it and lose track of time. So, yeah, I find myself doing that sometimes. So, I love meditation. Love meditation, love how it makes me feel. And I need to practice it more frequently, and definitely become more consistent. Make it a routine, make it a habit. I'm going to do a podcast. Stop licking me, Sky. I'm going to do a podcast about that for sure, because my spiritual teacher, one of my spiritual teachers, Ali, he did, he talks about, he has done a master class with us before. I think he also sent an email out before. He has a daily spiritual email he sends out that you can sign up to at I don't want to give you the wrong information, but I want to say I think it is uh indraali.com, I believe. And you can sign up to receive the spiritual emails. They're really, really good. They're short, straight to the point. Um, you know, it's like, it's really, really good. I would highly suggest that you sign up and check it out. But yeah, so he was saying about like when doing your spiritual practices to attach it to something that you already do routinely, where you don't even have to think about it. So like for instance, maybe when you wake up in the morning, you make your bed up. Like that's instant. That's a habit for you to do. Then attach a spiritual practice with that, right? So like maybe after you make up your bed, you meditate and do it like that all the time, and it'll become a habit. Sort of like when we brush our teeth, automatically when you wake up, some people brush their teeth right away. Some people may eat first, then brush their teeth. I don't know. People do it all different kind of ways. But my point is, most people brush their teeth every single day. That someone doesn't have to remind you, hey, brush your teeth. Maybe as a kid we did, but as adults, you don't have to be reminded to brush your teeth. So to attach a spiritual practice to that will make it a habit, or being more consistent. So I think that's really cool, and that definitely does the trick. So we did our meditation on day 2 of the retreat. We did meditation at 8 o'clock, and then they had breakfast. I think breakfast was at 10, I believe. So that gave people time to shower up or do whatever you do in between that time. So what we did was we went on after everyone ate or whatever, we went on a nature trail, which was beautiful. The good doctor is the one that looked it up. She looked it up and found this trail that had a waterfalls. So we went out and did that. So let me I'm sharing you my story, my experience from that. So many things happen from walking on that trail. So in my mind, I was thinking, oh, I'm going to love this nature trail. Well, for one, I love being in the park. I think I mentioned that in the last podcast. I love the park. The park for me is a form of walking meditation when I'm out in the park. Also, seeing the people. Sorry if you're hearing the scratching. My dog is scratching on. Sky is scratching on a pillow. So, walking out in the park to me is so therapeutic. Also, a class that I took, Yale University class that I took, that was talking about, in that class, it mentioned that psychiatrists, psychiatrists, that's the one that gives medication. Some of them have experimented with their patients, and instead of giving them a psychotropic medication for depression or anxiety, they had them walk in nature for 30 minutes every day. And the results they got from that is that those people no longer had to take the psychotropic medication, because they're pretty much saying that the psychotropic medication and walking out in nature are equivalent. So the benefits of the psychotropic medication, you could get those same benefits of feeling better, being happier, being in a better mood, those type of things from just walking in nature. So I go out there too, also to so my dog can get some exercise as well, so Sky can get some exercise. So I love to take Sky to the park, and just to see how she is just so happy and enjoys being in the park just as much as I do. So I knew being on this trail, I would really geek out over it, because I just love nature. I love being in nature. Um, yeah. So if that was a job, I could see myself being like a tour guide, walking in nature and telling people this is this tree and this tree, blah, 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 giving them the history of the tree or whatever. Have people out there hugging trees and collecting pine cones, things like that. I would like to do that just because I'm being selfish and I would just like to be out in the woods like that. Um, I wonder if it would feel the same though if it was a job. But anyway, getting back, see, I can go down a rabbit hole, y'all. Um, so anyway, we go walking in the park, and I'm thinking that I'm gonna just be so captivated by the trees and just being in nature and seeing all that beauty surrounding me. But actually, what really captivated me was the roots of the trees. Oh my goodness, the roots of the trees told a story to me. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it was amazing to see how thick some of the roots were and how the shapes of the roots and how some of them combined, just the different shapes. It was just so fascinating. It was really cool. Like, yeah, so let me already put this out here. I don't have pictures now. And you're probably wondering, like, what? No pictures? Yeah, I don't. And the reason why is because I went on this retreat with the notion to be present. I wanted to be totally present and in just enjoying the elements and enjoying the people. I did not want any distractions. And I felt like having my cell phone on me would be a distraction. It would make me want to text a friend or call a friend or um, take pictures and maybe Google stuff. I know how I would do. And I just wanted to be free from technology. And so I kept my phone in my bag the majority of the time, like the whole entire time until nighttime. Then when before it got too late, um I think I text my sister. Yeah, I text my sister. That's Bobby. I text Bobby and then I called my son and I called my mom. But pretty much that was it. That was only people that I think I talked to. I think. And if anybody else texts me, I would respond back to them, but I wouldn't respond back until before I was going to bed. So that's why I don't have any pictures. But if I go back again, which I do plan on it, I don't know if the group is going to have another retreat. I'm not for sure, but I know that's somewhere I want to go back to. Because there's some things I wasn't able to do while I was there. And my second go around, I can take pictures because I've already experienced it. So I think I would do better picture wise the second go around. But anyway, so we walked in the trail and it was just so beautiful. So beautiful, captivating, and just the energy, the vibration was high. You know what I mean? Like it was just a wonderful thing. We saw the waterfalls, and so some of us, I didn't do it, but some people went up under the waterfall and let the water shower them pretty much. Some people put the water in bottles to bring back. um, One of the gentlemen climbed up to the very top of the mountain, where the waterfalls was coming from, and he sat there. I think he meditated for a little while because it looked like it. It looked like he was meditating. And then there was three ladies that was looking up at him, and then they just started climbing up that mountain. And I'm telling you, the energy that we felt, like those three ladies seemed like they were hypnotized. They looked like they were hypnotized, or like spirit was telling them, come climb up that mountain and be with that gentleman, and um experience his aura, experience his energy. It just felt so so real, okay? It just really, really did. I can't come up with the words to express it, but it was definitely magical. It was definitely spiritual. Like, it was just a beautiful thing, just a beautiful thing. So we took pictures out there as a group. Um and people were taking individual pictures, things like that. So if I can find the picture of us in a group out there, I'll put that on my blog. Um, so all right. So after the nature walk, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to condense it and not make this so long. But after the walk, the nature trail, we went back to the cabin, showered up and everything, and got ready for Saran's class or training that she had about finance. And I probably will have, I'm working on that, learning how to have guests on the show. I definitely want to have some people that have had a positive effect on my life, um, that have been a part of my journey. So I definitely want to have some of them on the podcast. So, um, but I got to have my sister on first. She's the very, very first guest I'm going to have on. And she's going to probably be on here several times because I've learned so much from her. And she's also seen my evolution along the way. Um, but yeah, we have great conversations. So I'm definitely going to have her on here when I start to have a guest um, on the podcast. So Saran had her talk, which I don't know if I'm going to get into it all now, but let me just say her she is a master in what she does. She really, really knows a lot about finance. Um, and her website, I believe, is saranbaker.com. So check her out. Definitely check her out. She has a YouTube channel too, which is Saran Baker. Check her out there. Follow her, subscribe to her channel. You can learn a lot from her. I'm so looking forward to it because I signed up, especially after meeting her in person and sitting in her class. Um, I feel like she can really help me get my finances in order, and probably like not just get them in order, because I really feel like, to honestly, I feel like my let's see, how can I say this? I would love to earn more money and make more money, which I know I will in due time. My finances are straight. I'm almost debt free. Um, Student loans. Let's not even get started. Student loans is the main thing, but outside of student loans, just my home and one personal loan. But that's pretty much it. So I don't feel too bad about that. Um, but Saran also is in the business of life insurance as well, and that is part of my job, is life insurance. So I feel like I can learn so much from her. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I signed up to have a session with her, so I'm so looking forward to it. It's coming up soon, so I will share that with you all as well. But so that's what happened. We had our class with Saran, which was great, awesome, great information. And what did we do after that? I think we had dinner. This was Monday. This is pitiful. We we had dinner. I think we just sat around. Oh, we went to outside there was a fire pit. Oh my goodness, love the fire pit. Like I want one in my backyard now after seeing that. So relaxing. Once again another element, fire, right? So we were all around the fire talking, sharing stories, listening to music. So let me share with you some things that was going on with me. So when I first went outside at the fire pit, I was sitting, my back was towards the woods. And while I was sitting there, I kept on hearing it sound like someone was walking through the grass, like stepping on leaves. And I'm looking before I said something, I'm looking at everybody and I don't see nobody flinching, nobody looking. Well, I'm constantly like looking over my shoulder. And then finally I started saying, "Do y'all hear that? Does anybody hear that?" And they're like, "I don't hear nothing. I don't hear nothing." I'm like, how ain't nobody hearing this? So, because it was loud to me. It wasn't like a whisper. It was loud, like as if I'm thinking it was a bear walking behind me because this place is known to have bears. No one spotted one yet, but we were told that there's bears in the area. So I'm constantly looking over my shoulder because I keep on hearing it sound like somebody was walking in the grass or walking past us. So nobody else is hearing it or anything. So I move my seat and I go sit on now my back is towards the cabin so I can see the, the trees and everything. Um, and when I moved, I didn't hear it anymore. I didn't hear it once I moved. So we were talking about that the next day. I'm just gonna say this about the next day. I'm gonna end the podcast, but um, we were talking about me hearing something, and some people say that it was spirit. That's what I was hearing. Um, uh, some people say that it could have been my spirit guides that I heard and felt. Um, I do always say, a lot of times I do say that my dad is always with me, and I believe my dad was my protector, and he always protected me. And I feel like now that he's in the spirit realm, that he is still guiding me and protecting me. He was my person that I went to and talked to about all kind of things. And my dad was just very not judgmental, very open. Um, and he never told me what to do. He would more so tell me to do what I feel what is right, because whatever decision I decide to do would be the right thing for me. Um, that's what I loved about my dad so much. You know, he was stern. Don't get me wrong, stern man, alpha male, 100%. Um, But I think because since I was his daughter, his message was delivered to me differently. He was more gentle with me, um, kind, sweet, all those things. Like I would say a gentle giant, you know. Um, but yeah, so I always end these podcasts with lessons that I learned and from my experiences, and hoping in hopes that it may help you too. So what I got from that day, of course I learned a lot from Saran. Um I learned a lot from her, and I was so grateful for her sharing her knowledge. And you could tell that she is in her element, like this is her thing. And you could tell that she genuinely wants to help people. She really, really does. And that's a beautiful thing to see when you see someone doing their work and they're in their flow, in their element, and doing what they're one of her gifts out of many, because she has many. That's just one of them. And that's a beautiful thing to see and experience. So I got that from day 2, Monday, from the retreat. Also to the nature trail. Being in the nature trail, what I learned from being in the nature trail is that our roots tell a story. And I got that from looking at the roots in the trees. It made me realize that our roots, we all have roots and we all have a story that we can learn from our roots. Um, and what else I learned being on the nature trail is the power of grounding. Um, what else I saw in the roots is a strong foundation. Um, that is what else I learned from that. What else I learned is that being out in nature also sharpens your intuition. For me, it sharpened my intuition. I got a lot of downloads while being in nature, and the energy, the energy out there just was so, the energy I felt love. I felt I felt love from the nature. And also what I really get from being out in nature is when you see the animals, the insects, looking at the trees and the rocks and all that kind of stuff. It just made me think about how um everything happens in the way things happen naturally, right? So if you get out of your head and go with what you feel and go with your first instinct, I believe for me, that is spirit, that is natural, that is that's what helps you keep aligned, to stay aligned and balanced, right? Um but yeah, so I learned that on the second day, being out in nature and things like that. Like I said, I learned from Saran. What else did I learn on the second day? Mm, I also learned that I can meditate. I can meditate without it being guided meditation. Um I learned that the second day of the retreat when we did the 15-minute meditation. Um And yeah, so I think that's all that I can think of right now. I learned so many things. But so Monday, day 2 of the retreat, those are the things that I learned so far, and I have so many more stories to share and tell of the next day. So I'm going to end it now, and until next time, talk to y'all soon. Peace.